Hi there and welcome to the Valeria Bianchini channel and welcome to my Friday Sews. First of all, just like to start by saying thanks to Jen from Today and Jen Sewing for creating the hashtag Friday Sews. So what have I got today? Well, I've got a couple of little makes, I suppose, yeah, just a little small things and a bit of thrifting and maybe I suppose a bit of life to throw in there as well. So first thing I've got for you is a little, I suppose, bag. Yeah, it is little, does look a little. And what it is that you can buy those little circular pattern weights and they're quite flat, but you know, there's a bit of weight in them and they're painted on one side. Look lovely, there's lots of different patterns and styles as it were that you can get. But that is basically what they are. And it's like, well, they come in this metal tin. I'm not sure where I've put that, but it's got this plastic insert and they sit in there and they look nice, but it's not really practical for carrying them around or to you know, take them anywhere. So I was like, well, I could do with a little bag to put them in, but I don't want them sliding around and knocking about and getting all scratched up because they do look nice. You know, that little picture that's on them is very nice. So I just came up with this little baggy thing for from keeping them all together. What I'll do is I'll just change the camera angle and we'll have a little look at this baggie. Yes, so what I've got here is a little bag that I've made and it got all of 6 little weights in there. So it's quite a simple little way that I've done this. Well, I think it's quite simple anyway. So undo that. And then as you can see, what I've got is these 6 little pockets, which is basically one piece of material. It's actually 2 bits of material together and then I just turned it through, so I've not got to do any edging or anything. I didn't want to be messing around with doing fancy edges or anything. I just want to be quite simple. But as you see, these are little pockets and in each little pocket is one of these little pattern weights that sit inside there. And I've used scrap bits of material because it was really easy enough. You know, they're really nice, these pattern weights. I really do like them. They're really simple and there's a bit of weight to them. This one is Needle and Bear was the whoever made these. I say they normally come in a metal tin, but I thought, no, they're not so easy to carry around. And of course, I didn't want to just put them all in a bag and have them sort of clunking together because then they'll get scratched up, and they look so nice that I didn't want them to get scratched up, so I made this little bag. And then what I did is again 2 bits of material for the outer and again all I've done is stitched them together, turned them through. But what I did is I attached this piece with it forms a little pocket onto this bit before I put this bit onto the outer, and then just did some you know top stitching on there. So that's got 6 of these little metal weights in, and then I could just fold it up like that, fold that one over and then turn it in and turn that one over as well. And as you see, I've got a little button that I'd put on that end, and literally just one button. All I've got to do is loop it round a couple of times and then just tuck that underneath and that stays shut, you know. And there we go. It's just a nice little carry bag. So they're nice, handy. It fits in the hand and it's easy to carry that around because I mean there's a little bit of weight in these, so being all together, they're not going to drop out because it folds over itself. I just thought that was a nice little baggy thing to make to keep them all together, nice and simple. Now the next thing I made is a pair of undies. And I've used the pattern Quick Sew 3881, which is that pattern. Now this is a nice simple pattern. It's the reason for getting it because it's got a range of different styles on there, but the style that I would go with, which I do, is A or B because, you know, nice basic sensible undies, you know, briefs as it were. This pattern is really quite a simple pattern and it's easy to adjust. I mean, I've made this pattern a few times before and each time I do it, it's like, yeah, that comes out fine. But when I first did it, I found that, you know, obviously with any pattern you have to do a bit of adjustment. Now I did make a pattern once that was, call it from the men's section, and I couldn't get them to fit. I couldn't get them to adjust well. So that's why I went for this one in the end, because I thought it looks simple enough. Hopefully I can easily adjust it. And it was very easy to adjust. So I has managed to easily adjust it so it fits on my body shape. And here we are, one pair of undies, which is quite simple really, isn't it? And I reckon it's a nice versatile little pattern because it is adjustable. You can adjust things, you know, you can think, can I make the front wider or narrower, and you know, make the bum a bit smaller or bigger, and adjust the height and length of it and whatnot. Adjust the crutch area as well. So it's all relative because it really is such a simple design, whereas I found some others were a little bit more involved. And of course, with this being a stretch material, I like to try and have a go every so often, because I'm not very good with stretch, so I like to try and just do a bit of stretch material. So undies are the best thing because it's a smaller item, you use less material and there's less sewing and stitching that's got to go on to do that. Mind you, I've not been very good because I couldn't find any red thread to start off with, so I used this purple thread, and as you can see, it's a bit sort of like all over the place because I'm not very good at doing it. So a pair of undies for a bit of practice, and something that's comfortable, and they are comfortable, believe me, they are very comfortable. So nice pair of undies to add to my drawers, as it were. But yeah, like I say, a good part of that is just keep my hand in with stretchy materials, which I very, very rarely use. And as I say, undies are a great little practice piece because they're small. I suppose that's why they call them the smalls, isn't it? But who knows? There you go. That was my second little make. Now the next thing I've made is another bag. Here we go. I'm sure you've all seen my bag that I make. This one I decided to make with this material, which is actually the same as my kneeling cushion, which is what I've got down here. As you can see, my kneeling cushion that I made before. And I had, you know, a reasonable amount of material left over from that. And I thought, well, what else can I make with it? I thought I'd make another bag. Part of the reason for that is that this material is somewhat heavier than anything else that I've used to make this bag. And I was wondering what's sort of like the heaviest and thickest weight material I can possibly get away with. And actually this does still work. You know, the pattern seems simple enough that I've created, that I'm able to make it in this slightly heavier weight material. And it still goes together fine. You know, it takes a little bit of wrestling slightly and a little bit more caution when it comes to putting the zips in and that, but it still goes together quite well. So there we go. So without any too much trouble, magnetic weight on the front as per the other ones, same style exactly. Zip pocket with some lovely white polka dot lining, and then obviously we've got the big zip on the top, and inside we've got a nice lot of space with patch pocket there on that side, and on the other side another zip pocket, which again has got the red or sort of white, red material but white dots on it. Polka dot, is it you call it? Don't know. I suppose it is, isn't it? Yeah. So zip pocket on the inside as well, and all that room on the inside there. Yeah, great little bag this. I do like it. This one's come out really well. As I say, it was more of a tester to make sure and see what weight of material I can get with, because obviously I too try to make these bags out of material that I get hold of rather than buying material specifically. So depending on what I get hold of depends on how heavy or thick or what it's going to be like. So I needed to really test the pattern to make sure that it could work for any sort of weight of material, and yes, it does. Again, got that sort of like layered quilted base piece to give it that rigidity, so it'll actually sort of hold up on its own to some extent. Brilliant, I love that. So yeah, another bag made, and of course made sure, like always, put my own little label on there. Make sure everybody knows who it's from. So yeah, I did that as well. So that was another little make that didn't take that long really. I mean, I did it in bits and pieces, but overall I feel like I'm getting much quicker at making it now. And now that I've tested all the different sort of weights of material out, I'm totally happy with how it can come together, and that I'll be able to do it successfully every time I do make it. Now the next thing is a little bit of thrifting. I went to my local thrift store and found some fabrics. I haven't really been there much. I've not really been to the thrift store, my local one, for a little while actually. Believe it or not, I really haven't. But when I was there this time, I did find a couple of bits of fabric. First one is this stuff. Now it's like, I can only describe it as, is it like a crepe sort of thing? I think it's heavier than that, but it's got this textured look to it. I don't know if you can see that, but it is textured. It is a little bit see-through. It's got this odd yeah, on this seam edge. I don't know. It's got a little bit of, as I say, it's sort of drapey. I think maybe it might be a viscose. Could just be a straight up polyester, or maybe a poly mix of some sort. I really don't know. Viscose is what I'm erring on the side of. I'd have to do a test on it to find out really, I suppose, wouldn't I, properly, but yeah, I don't know. But yeah, it's nice. It's got this sort of, I call it like an olive green, it looks to me. I don't know how it comes off in the camera. I think it comes off a little bit different in its look, so I'm not really sure. But yeah, there we go. It's about a metre. It's not that wide. It's wider than that camera angle, that's for sure. But I think it's about a metre and a quarter in width, and lengthwise I've got just under 2 metres. So I could go with a skirt with this, couldn't I? Or a blouse maybe, I'm not sure. Something quite simple. Well, it feels nice. It's got nice enough texture to it. So that was the first piece I got. Now the next bit I got was actually in 2 pieces. There were 2 bits of this stuff. Let's just find a corner, drop that out. Now this feels like, I was going to say it feels like a cotton, but I think actually it's a poly cotton. It's not just a straight up cotton, because it's really got a nice smoothness to it that I wouldn't expect from a cotton, straight up cotton. But you never know, it could be a straight up cotton. It's just been really well made. But to me, I get the feeling it's a blend of some stuff, but with cotton being the main part of that. So yeah, there we go, some nice stuff. And I got 2 pieces of this. Now the pieces I got was I got one is said to be 2 meters and the other one is said to be 2.1 meters in length. But when you measure them out, it is pretty much 2 meters. I've basically got 4 meters of this in 2 pieces. So that's great. A nice simple basic, you know, colour material that's got a nice sheen to it, because this side is not quite the same as this side. It might not look like it. I don't know if that would show. It does look the same, but when I feel it, one side feels softer than the other. But there we go. And as I say, I got 2 pieces of it. The width of that one is, it says 48 inches, which is 122 centimeters, which is fine. It's a nice width of material. So again, about 4 meters of that and about 2 meters of the other one. So yeah, I've got whether it be a skirt or whether it be a top, a blouse or something like that, I'm not quite sure. I say this is more structured than the olive green, and the colour of this, I can't decide if it's like what you might call pale khaki. Is it really a brown, biscuit brown, some people might say, and who knows what colour that actually is. But it is quite nice. So there we go. That's 2 bits of fabric. And for the princely sum, kingly sum, whatever sum, would have been £2, I think. Yeah, yeah, £2 for that fabric. So there we go. That's brilliant. I think that's brilliant anyway. So there we go. Very nice. A nice, what I think is a bargain for what would be, at the very least, 2 items, if not 3 items. Now, the last thing is a little, I think it was a craft. Let's have a look what it says. Craft and Makers Market that I went to last weekend. It was on the Saturday. Now, this was based in Shrewsbury, and I saw an advert for it, and I thought, well, I'm going to go and have a look at that, see what it's all about, especially a maker's market. I thought that'd be quite good with craft stuff. Now, when I got there, they had a little flyer that they put out, and it's got more dates on there, so I'll just tell you about that in a bit. But first of all, I'll just say about the actual craft and makers market itself. Now, being held at Shrewsbury, it was held at, they've got like a sports centre area there, and it was held in one of the big sports building rooms, you know, and like whatever they do in there sports wise during the week, but it was held in one of the bigger buildings there. So obviously had lots of little stalls all set up for all these little small independent crafts and makers that were obviously from, or I presume from the Shropshire and surrounding areas. So there was some probably from Staffordshire and that way, maybe a little bit further afield, but generally sort of it's more of a sort of a local thing for these local makers and that. So yeah, there's quite a lot of stalls there, and people that were generally had already made stuff and these things, and they got them on the stalls. There was a lady there doing little bags, and there's people there doing little woodwork items and jewellery and things like candles and scents and smelly stuff and things like that. So there's a whole range of different things. There's even a couple of people there doing little bits of food and that, and they look really nice, and they were really nice actually. So yeah, I thought that was really good. So as I went round, I did pick up some of the little tickets that, you know, people had put out. There was this one, which Touchwood Designs. Now this one was a guy who's doing woodworking little things, little bowls and stuff, but he's got a card, but he didn't have, there's no details on it, just says that he's Touchwood Designs, no number or anything. So that's you know, can't really say much more about that one. We've got here, let's have a look, Sarah Corkill, artist. She's got Etsy shop, and she's on Facebook. There was somebody called Nature's Treasure, where they take handcrafted, it says handcrafted jewellery using sea glass, sea pottery and fine silver and gifts created from driftwood. So that will look quite interesting. We've got here Ginger Blandford, original and vintage tweed sky wraps and snoods, jewellery and accessories, you know. That's another little stall there. Landel Ceramics, handmade in Shropshire. There's that little ceramic thing. So that was another card. That was brilliant. We've got Marsh Crafts, home fragrances. It's like little candles and smellies and, you know, like oil burners and stuff like that. That sort of things, you know, those melt things you get. A lady called Nikki by the looks of it, and that was very nice. Some lovely stuff there. We had Coco Sunday, which is somebody else that does candles and smelly stuff and things, you know. And they've got, it says follow us on Instagram and Facebook, and they've got a website, so they obviously buy stuff from them. Then there was, this one was quite good actually, it's called Pampa Shire, Artisan Bakery. Now this is a lady called Valeria Bianchini, who, according to this, says is Argentinian recipes in the heart of Shropshire. And yes, there was some lovely stuff there. And I did buy a couple of little slices of a cake thing, or like tart, and there was 2 different ones that I got. And yes, they were very nice, actually, indeed. There was also Gisela Robinson art and illustration, and she had some artistic things, some drawing, some paintings, and but also some other things, some trinkets and things and stuff, which were very nice. And you know, her card, so obviously she does her own sort of artwork on things. So yeah, that was very nice. You know, she had little like pocket mirrors and pocket things you could have in your pocket or purse or bag or something, with all that sort of thing. That was very nice. And then there was another lady there who was making bags. It was called Bags by Maureen. Now she is on Instagram, which is just Bags by Maureen. So it says carry handmade, you know, just nice, sturdy, sort of like almost like a tote bag, but with a zip on them and a pocket on the inside, I think. So really nice makes there. So, you know, there were lots of different things there. And one of the other stalls that was there was actually Ruth from Shropshire Sews, who I have mentioned before because I've been to her sewing social. And she was there to, where did I put my other things? There we are. Obviously, with a lot of the stalls there, they were all makers who had already made stuff. So there it was, you know, jewellery, cakes, bags, whatever it was that was already there, that people already had on the stalls to sell. Whereas Ruth, obviously, she sells things that you can make with, you know, she's got a fabric that she sells, and also haberdashery items and things that you can use for crafting, for making, as it were, which is a little different to what most of the stalls were. So that was nice to see Ruth there on that. So as I say, Shropshire Sews, I'll put some links in. I'll try and put links in for all this stuff. I did buy a little bit from Ruth, which is just a couple of label packets, you know. That's all I decided I needed. You know, she did have some nice bits of material there, but I thought, no, hold back, you know, don't go wild. One label says imperfectly perfect, and the other one says made with love. So, you know, just a couple of little label packs, which are really nice. So hopefully I might be able to use them on some future makes. So yeah, that was the craft and makers market. Now, as I said, there are some more markets going on that are going to be going on in the future. So this one was the 17th of May in Shrewsbury, and from what I can make out, Ruth is going to be at some more of these craft and makers market. I think she's got the details on her website, so if you just go to her website, put links in below, you'll hopefully be able to find out what those dates are and when they're going to be. But I mean, they've got things like, you know, there's going on in June, so we've got 7th of June, 21st of June, 28th of June. There's a couple in July, 5th of July and the 26th of July, and there's one even in August. And the different places they're going at, they're going to be in Newport, Shrewsbury, and one in Wolverhampton. So yeah, they're going to be sort of all over the place about doing these craft and makers markets. So hopefully, you know, the different places that they'll be in, there might be other different makers that are going to go to these markets. They're going to have stalls there. So I'll probably go to maybe at least another one of them, I would imagine, at some point. Not sure which one or when, but yeah, I might go and have another look at another one. So there, that was really entertaining. That was really nice to go there. The other thing is that while I went there and I went to Ruth's stall to have a look at what she'd got, when I got to her stall, I actually bumped into a couple of other people, which is an utter surprise for me because it's a couple of ladies called Jenny and Sue. I believe they're sisters, if I've got that right, and they don't live in this area, don't live in the Shropshire area, they live much further away. They'd come to here for an event that was taking place in the evening, but they thought they'd go along and have a look at this makers market as well. And they happened to be there at Ruth's stall when I was there. So I was like, wow, that's brilliant, because I met Jenny and Sue when I went to the Plymouth Frock Tales originally, so I was really surprised to see them there, you know what I mean? So that was really lovely to bump into other people that I'd met. one of those happy coincidences. So that was very, very nice to, like I say, to bump into them, to have a little bit of a chat and to say hi. And hopefully they had a wonderful evening at the event that they went to. So there we go. So yeah, that was the Craft and Makers Market. So that's it from me this week. As I say, you know, 2 or 3 little makes really, a little bit of testing going on, a tiny bit of thrifting, kept the cost down on that, £2 for 3 bits of fabric, which I think is brilliant. And also that makers market I went to last Saturday, which was absolutely brilliant. That was a really enjoyable thing to go to, you know, a bit of a spur of the moment, and quite a surprise at what was there and who I saw there. So that was brilliant. Yeah, all in all, I suppose quite a good week, even though I haven't felt that it was a really brilliant week. It's just an ordinary week for me, but yeah, I suppose, yeah, not a bad week really, all in all. So there we go. That was my week. So I think that's it from me. So if you like this video, do please give me a thumbs up, to click that button. Please do subscribe, and if you click the bell icon, that way you'll get a notification of when my videos come out. Please do comment. I do love reading your comments. It's always nice to hear what you've been up to and what you're doing and what your thoughts are. And if you wish to chat amongst yourselves within the comments, then please do, because that's why we come here, to make those connections, isn't it? So I think it's just left me to say thank you very much for watching my video, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. So from Dominic and me, bye.
By Maureen.